సుల్తాన్ కావాలనుకున్నది ఏదైనా తెచ్చిచ్చేవాడు. వద్ద
Prabhas is making a comeback after 3 consecutive flops, Sahu, Radhesham and Adipurush. On the other hand, writer-director Prashant Neel is riding high on the success of KGF franchise. SALAAR is an adaptation of Prashant Neel's debut Kannada film Ugram, released in 2014 and dubbed in Hindi as Main Hoon Badshah. Ugram was more realistic and human story with heart and soul with superb dialogues. In contrast, SALAAR is soulless film filled with glitz and larger than life characters reminiscent of those from the KGF sets. In fact, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that the junior artist, villains, director and his team seem to have transitioned seamlessly from the KGF sets to SALAAR. Even inserting shots and scenes from one movie to the other would blend in effortlessly, making it hard to distinguish between the two. The film SALAAR takes its audience on a journey across different parts of the country such as Assam, Gujarat and Hyderabad and so on. However, despite the change in locations and regions, the faces, the characters and visual experience remains consistent. Prashant Neel faithfully carries the dark color palette from KGF into SALAAR, resulting in every setting appearing quite similar. Prashant Neel openly admits that for him, numerical success matters more than pursuing creative boundaries. Consequently, he doesn't mind repeating certain elements if they resonate with his audience. But unfortunately, he is getting too repetitive with scenes, characters, and his locations. Certainly, one cannot help but notice the growing frequency of graphic scenes involving beheading and limb chopping in our films. The apparent tolerance for such explicit content, met with enthusiastic reactions from the front benches, raises question about the evolving taste of our audience. But drawing comparison with a series like Game of Thrones may be a tad hyperbolic, given the nuanced storytelling and the character development in the latter. Additionally, the prevalent trend of sequels appears to have its drawback. The industry's inclination towards continuation seems to compromise the crafting of new original stories and the introduction of fresh characters. This pursuit of sequels at times results in narratives that feel somewhat underdeveloped and lacking in substance. SALAAR is the best example of this mindset. Ensemble cast including Prabhas, Prithviraj Sukumaran, Shruthi Hassan, Jagapati Babu, Bobby Simha, Chinu Anand and so on graces the screen. While most actors seamlessly embody their roles, the performances of Shruthi Hassan and Jagapati Babu fall short. Probably director has reserved their performances for the sequel. Who knows? Departing from his previous tired and drowsy appearances, Prabhas presents a revitalizing change for his fans. While his sculpted physique draws favorable comparison to Sylvester Stallone, it's worth noting that, much like Stallone's tough image, Prabhas maintains a singular, somewhat unvaried expression throughout the entirety of the film, a characteristic some might describe as a less dynamic or expressive. DOP Bhuvan Gowda does an excellent job, while music director Ravi Basrur is getting too repetitive, and most of the times his music overshadows dialogues, maybe intentionally, because dialogues lacks the punch of Rocky Bhai. Editor Ujjwal was overpowered by director, so many scenes either drag or they are repetitive. Coming to the highly paid action choreographer duo Unveils, they have set the trend of outlandish weapon used by Rocky Bhai. Ranbir Kapoor overshadowed it by bazooka in Animal, and in SALAAR it's mix of Bofor tanks and guns. Certainly they have set arms race on the celluloid. Audiences should not be surprised to see Mahesh Babu walking on the streets of Delhi with IT-72 battle tank to take on his enemies. Our stunt choreographers will have to look beyond chopping heads and flying limbs, otherwise audiences will certainly chop their career short very soon. VFX by Raghav Tamareddy is mix of good and bad. In comparison to Animal, SALAAR lacks strong performances, screenplay and dialogues. How does SALAAR work with all these elements? Well, we will gladly provide an answer right after we had the pleasure of watching the sequel. In conclusion, SALAAR Part 1 Ceasefire falls short in igniting any emotional fire and leaves much to be desired in terms of storytelling, despite having some goosebump moments. No scene manages to touch the heart or remain etched in your mind. The emotional quotient is non-existent and the presence of songs is nearly negligible. But for masala lovers, SALAAR is certainly a one-time watch. So do let us know about our reviews on SALAAR in comment section down below, and do take care. Love you all.
Please